Very sad indeed. That just breaks my heart. The first time I saw that clip of the dad feeding her, I just couldn't even watch it anymore. But I think it is vital that we as a country make noise about this. And Jacqueline is a representation of so many people who are living in silence, being abused, and are going to lose their lives if something is not done. This morning I'm joined by Naitoria Nyamu, who is an advocate and is representing Equality Now this morning, and Joy Mindo, who is a lecturer at Park University, who's going to give us a perspective of the theology and the clergy side of things. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Thank you. You're looking nice and bright on a
Thank
great
you.
morning. Thank you for
you.
being here.
Yes.
Naitoria, you have been at the forefront of this case and you're coming from Equality Now. Give us an overview. Where are we with Jacqueline's case?
All right, let me first of all say that this is a really shocking case in terms of the magnitude of what Jacqueline had to go. And for me, even what's more shocking is the fact that after this violation took place, she was taken to hospital and the report had not been made. It was only after the media coverage, and I'm very grateful to the nation for having this story on their headlines. It was only after that that the perpetrator or the suspect was arrested.
Really?
Yes, so even at that point, you realize there's definitely a huge gap. And this person fled. How come the police did not take any initiative to get him? And already this person, Jacqueline, is already in hospital. And I'm sure the medical practitioners were aware that this is a case of domestic abuse. And once they reported that, it is upon the police to have apprehended the perpetrator immediately, not waiting until Jacqueline is out of hospital.
She's out of hospital. When you look very close, you can see her scars are even starting to heal, which means that there's been a time period between the incident and the arrest.
Yes.
And that for me is so alarming. We'll of course talk about what is going to happen and how justice will be served. But the thing that has come out about this case, Joy, is that she went to her pastor. She went to church. She tried to seek help over 4 times that he had actually really abused her. And those are the 4 times she's willing to admit. And her pastor told her to pray about her marriage. Where does the church come in a situation like this, in a situation of domestic violence?
Domestic violence is what we call a silent epidemic. It's not something people will talk about. A lot of pastors are not prepared. The theology does not prepare them to respond to these kind of things. The Bible is not explicitly explaining what a pastor needs to do. Just tells the woman submit, God hates divorce, and that kind of thing. So what script would this pastor tell such a person if they don't understand this silent epidemic, this thing that people don't even want to talk about?
And the Bible denounces divorce, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so this is a lot of where this comes from.
Yes.
Don't divorce, don't leave.
Yeah, don't leave, submit, let's try, God will help you. But many churches, especially in the city, are beginning to recognize things. They have counselors, they have marriage and family therapists. They're looking for an integrated approach. So if the pastor cannot help you, they have someone on board they can try and get to. But that's really the minority. Quite a number of them have one script. And so I think the need to begin to make this epidemic not just be a silent one, but begin to speak about it from the platforms, or make women be aware, make men be aware that there's a place you can go for help. And then probably we can begin to see change. But it's not just a Kenyan issue, it's a global issue.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Naitoria, I come in on the issue of, I guess, the gender bias in this case, where Kofi Olomide did what he did. We all saw it. It was all over our Facebook feeds. And we saw the result of that based on the outrage of Kenyans online. And then Jacqueline happens, and not much. I mean, thank God that this story was at the forefront in the headlines, you know, in the news cycle, and it didn't go away, which is why, you know, we're now even still talking about it. But why? Why hasn't there been such an outcry for Jacqueline, and where was there such an outcry for the dancer?
Let me even just talk about the Kofi Olomide case. You realize this dancer was assaulted right next to police officers, and they did nothing, because it's so normal to hit a woman. I mean, domestic violence, no matter what form it is, it's glorified, it's justified. After all, it just hit a woman. I mean, that's normal. And the same case for Jacqueline. This is a lady who is in the rural areas. She's married. she's not had a kid. And it's a problem. The moment as a woman you're married and 3 years go down the line, you've not conceived, it's your problem. At first, she could not even speak about the fact that they do not have children, and she believed in this marriage. So it was all under wraps. And then the first day it's in the headlines, and people are like, oh no, it's nothing big. Then it appears again, and then that's when most people actually think there's a problem. How does a man you're married to sever your limbs? I mean, that's just outrageous. But still, I don't think as a nation or as the populace in this country, we've gotten to a point where we appreciate what domestic violence is,
Right.
because we always turn a blind eye to it. I mean, those are things that happen between two people who are in love. So let them just sort it out. Why are we getting involved in it?
And that also
always has been
happens
the
to
perception.
not just church,
Yeah.
but police stations.
Yes,
When
yes.
women go to report, even men can't even go and report because of the stigma that surrounds this. Right, we're going, of course, to talk about what are some of the solutions, where do you get help? But we have a caller on the line. Good morning. Good morning. Hello?
Hello.
Hi. Thank you for calling, Rosa. You have a question or comment?
I have a question,
Go ahead.
a comment and a question. Yeah.
Go ahead.
In Africa, I find we are quite religious,
Yes.
and so we look at everything through religious lenses. And so I find that maybe there's a lot of ignorance about what God feels about us in certain situations.
Okay.
And so for me, my question would be addressed to Joy. Is it time for, to actually get policies that will actually make church leaders act in cases like this, when it comes to just to give them a procedure that they must follow
Yes.
to actually help the police, such that when a counseling case, a case like this comes to church, your role is not to tell somebody separate or divorce, but to actually say, we need to call the police.
Okay.
So that now any perpetrator knows that I don't have a covering anymore, and everybody is held to account so that these cases can actually be solved.
Thank you for that. Very, very good question. Joy?
Yeah, I think the church needs to begin to speak about it. And not just speaking about it, but creating modalities on how then to begin to deal with the issues, especially on both genders, either on men or on women. I pray that this is a time where we'll begin to see churches and church bodies like NCCK coming up and saying, we are developing this policy, the way we are developing one for corruption and for other ills in society. But let's begin to advise the church leaders, what do you do? And much more in the rural areas, because if a woman is going through trouble, the first person they'll run to as that someone they would trust is the religious leader. That's the face they would go to. They represent who
Person
God
who married
is.
them,
Yes.
you know, even
Yes.
because in Jacqueline's case, they had the family,
Yes.
they had many meetings, brought the
Yeah.
two families together, nothing worked, and that's when she resorted to going to her pastor.
Yes.
Yes.
And even not so much helping the abused, but helping the abuser to begin to stop. Because if there is no evidence,
Yeah.
and maybe they're acquitted, he will go to the next woman and he will abuse her. Or she will go to the next man and the process continues. So we really need a holistic, integrated approach, right from the church, in society, in all spheres, to begin to deal with this.
When love hurts, and it's not supposed to hurt, we are, of course, going to talk about the law and what actually happens from the point of abuse to hospital, to the police, to this case going to court, to the person being prosecuted. And Naitoria will tell us a little bit about that. But we have a caller who's holding on the line. Good morning.
Hello.
Hi, how are you, Karim?
Fine, Kobe.
Thank you so much for calling, Karim. You have a question or comment, sir?
Yeah, Kobe, comment. I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
Yeah, the gender violence is very bad and should not be tolerated.
Absolutely.
But I also feel on the same day that Jacqueline's photo was there,
Yeah.
on the page 3 of the name newspaper, there was a woman who murdered a man because he came late from work.
Yes.
So I see this over and over and again. If it's anything to do for abuse of men, it's never covered.
Right.
So I see that in so many other sectors. So why isn't there equality?
Fantastic question, Kareem. Fantastic. And I've kept saying this. This is not just about women. Men are being abused. Men are being killed. We've just seen a story where a girl killed her boyfriend and she's now in jail. It does not discriminate, does it?
No.
But why does the story, or, you know, why is Jacqueline getting airtime and maybe this man who passed away is not? What would you say, Naitore?
I would say that gender violence, it doesn't discriminate whether you're a man, female, on gender issues or whatever economic status you are. It can affect any one of us. However, the vulnerability of women and the fact that if you look at the statistics, the majority of the victims are women. I think that's why most of the stories of abuse on women are given more limelight as opposed for men. The other issue is that men are very stigmatized. They don't report these cases, and you're seen as a failure as a man to even report such a case of gender violence.
Absolutely. Yes. Actually, and that, you know, we need to talk about social media, because you hear a case of even a prominent person, a member of government, you know, reporting that he had a situation in his household, and jokes come out of that. And people create, you know, a trend that is almost funny. And this is not funny at all. If it happens to any human being, should not be violated, should not be abused, and we should not make fun of it, regardless of it's a man or a woman. Take us through a little bit of the law. Right, so you are in an abusive relationship, you're fearing for your life and your children's lives, you've gone to the church, nothing has happened. It has, in Jacqueline's situation, if her brother hadn't found her, chances are she would have died. What do you do as a person who's facing abuse, and what does the law actually entail?
All right, let me just list some of the laws that we have. Kenya is really doing really great in terms of the laws that we have. We have very progressive laws. We have the Constitution of Kenya 2010. We have the Protection Against Domestic Violence of 2015. We have the Sexual Violence Act of 2006. Just to mention but a few. When you are a victim of violence, of any form of violence, domestic violence or otherwise, the first thing is I would advise, especially go to hospital first within a certain duration of time. Or for cases of sexual violence, it's advised you do at least within 72 hours so that they take in the necessary evidence, they collect your samples, right. Yes, to ensure that the evidence is watertight. Then after that, you can go and report to the police. Now, the biggest hurdle is usually when you go to report to the police, because for some reason, cases of domestic violence or abuse are never believed by the police officers. And what the laws provides in the Protection Against Domestic Violence Act, it gives the Inspector General the mandate to ensure that police officers conduct the complaints that they received, they investigated in a very effective and expeditiously manner, which never happens. And from there now, the police are supposed to do the investigations, the suspect is arraigned in court, and the criminal justice system takes its place. The prosecution now takes its place because this is a crime. And in this case, it's the state. Okay. Yes.
All right. Yeah. We have Jane on the line who is holding, I think she'd like to ask a question or comment. Good morning, Jane.
Good morning. Habari ya asubuhi.
Mzuri sana, habari ya Mombasa.
Salama.
Na wewe uko poa?
Niko poa. Mimi pia nina hiyo shida kwangu.
Oh, seriously? Pole.
Bwanangu, mimi amenioa kama niko na mtoto. Sasa tuko na 1 year.
Yeah.
Kwa marriage, almost na 2 months.
Okay.
Sasa yeye alikuwa ananiambia, uko na shida, utaki kunizalia mtoto. Mimi nikamwambia
huyo mtoto mko naye si wake?
Sio wake, lakini yeye hana mtoto, naje yeye kamsichana mimba. Nikamwambia basi tenda hospitali tujue shida iko kwa nani. Yeye ananitumia paka marafiki zake wanakuja kunitukana. Akaniletea fujo, nikatoroka nikaenda kwa mamangu.
Pole.
Wazazi wakaongea, nikarejea. Last time nikamlazimisha paka nikatafuta private doctor, tukaenda tuongee naye. Daktari alituandikia note tuende hospitali aenda kapimwe. Paka sasa hivi tuna miezi 3 nayo barua kwa nyumba. Amekataa kwenda kupimwa. Mimi sasa hivi niko kwa periods naogopa kwa sababu atanianzia makelele. Pia nataka sasa mniadvise yenu nifanye nini.
Oh, pole sana Jane, pole. Lakini nimeshukuru kwa sababu umepiga simu. No, and she's realized actually she needs help, that this is a bad situation. Jane, love does not hurt. And I'm going to keep saying that over and over. Utaki kusikia uchungu kwa sababu ya mapenzi.
Mimi nina stress na nimekonda kwa sababu hiyo kitu. Mamangu ameniambia ni KMTV nione. Ndio nikasema acha nipige niambie nimpe maoni.
Pole sana dadangu. Talk to her.
The first step, Jane, is recognizing that you need that there's an issue, there's a problem. And once, because many women don't, they keep saying, no, maybe there's something wrong with me, but she begins to recognize there's nothing wrong with me, and I'm beginning to speak about it. And I think we need to be able to have modalities. Where does Jane go? She is in Mombasa. Who does she go to talk to? Which institution does she go and visit? If she's a Christian, would she go to a church of repute? The churches that we know that have resident counselors, they have resident family therapists, and they are connected to hospitals, to counseling centers where you can begin to get help before the relationship begins to get abusive. So don't stop speaking about what you're feeling, what you're going through. Maybe the family might not be able to understand what is going through. Maybe try the church. If the church doesn't do it for you, organizations like Equality Now would be able to step in. But whatever happens, keep speaking, keep talking, and keep your voice. Don't let your voice be silenced by your pain or the hurt that you're going through.
I'd like to say, and please, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, this woman is a mother. She is stressed, she's losing weight, she's feeling horrible. Her family, her parents are involved. She is not happy. She sees that this will probably turn abusive if it hasn't already. Why not the option of just leave? Why isn't that the thing that we talk about the most? What can you say, Naitore?
Exactly.
Doesn't she just need to leave?
Yes, and for me, I strongly believe in that. If you have issues and you feel you need to sort them out when you're outside that homestead. If every other time your spouse comes, they're just quarreling you over and over. And you know, it starts in very subtle ways. It can be a quarrel, and then they start blaming you. In this case, this lady is being blamed for not bearing a child, and it doesn't seem like the person who has a problem. So the spouse is stressed because he probably knows that the problem is his. But he needs an outlet to let that out, and who better to do it than to the wife?
Right.
Yes, and for me, I feel so bad for such women, because you believe in your marriage, which is a good thing, but it comes to a point when, for the sake of that child that you have, for the sake of your life, you need to leave.
You need to leave.
You need to leave, and at times I blame our parents, because they call the two families together and they're like, no, you can't leave, there's a solution.
I'm glad that the mom actually told Jane to turn on NTV and watch this show. Asante Mama, thank you so much for looking out for your daughter. It means that the mom doesn't want this for her daughter.
Exactly. And you know, the parents are the ones who hurt the most whenever their kids are assaulted or they're killed. You saw that picture of Jacqueline when the mom was feeding her, or when the father was trying to put on a sweater. You could see the pain. It's so much pain that no parent should have to go through.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I agree wholeheartedly. Jane, tutachukua namba yako na tutapatia Naitore for Equality Now, and we're going to see if we can connect her to someone in Mombasa. Are you guys based there?
We can see if we have a partner there who can talk to her.
Okay, absolutely, because she needs help.
Yes, she
Jane,
does.
asante sana kwa kupiga simu. We have Shalom now, who's on the line. Good morning. I think we lost Shalom. Shalom, please call back. I'd like to hear what you have to say. One of the situations, of course, in Kenya, and we haven't reached where we'd like to be, where you can literally press one button on your phone and cops show up. You know, and that's what we're saying. She's in Machakos. Jacqueline's story, of course, has come out to the fore and has received a lot of attention. And I believe the governor, with other well-wishers, have come forward and they have given Jacqueline a lifeline. Somebody to take care of her, and they've given her some money as well, I believe. And there's a lot of well-wishers coming on board for this. But Jacqueline is a representation of so many people who don't get to get in the papers, who don't get their story told. Where do we get help? When this is happening to you and you're in the thick of it, you're being chappered, you're in the middle of it, and the only thing you can hold on to is probably your child or your phone, what do you do? Who do you call?
That's a really tough question.
Yeah, I mean, I want to know, Naitore.
It is. We have helplines that are there, but there have been issues in terms of how they function and how they respond because of lack of resources. Yeah, because when you call me and you tell me you're being abused, my responsibility is not just to listen to you. I should act on it. Either I refer you to a shelter, which we do not have. Our support structures are really wanting because we don't have them.
Right.
Yes, because even if a woman wants to leave a home where she's married, where will she go?
Yeah.
Probably the parents don't want to keep her. You're old, you're an adult. We married you off, we took the bride price, so you're no longer our responsibility.
Right.
And the worst part is for those women who do not have any income, what do they do? So for me, one of the things that is really lacking is the support structures, and one of them being shelters.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Joy, you're going to come in on young people as a lecturer and university students, because a lot is going on there and we're not talking about it. Yes. But Shalom is back on the line. So let's see what they have to say. Good morning. Shalom. Are we calling Shalom? Or is Shalom calling us? All right. Can we try one more time? I think that's a technical problem. Let's talk about young people. There are cases of abuse in young relationships. There are cases of even small things such as gaslighting. It's happening. Date rape is happening. And they don't know what to do. They can't talk about it. They can't tell their mom because I love him. It's happening with young people. Joy, what can you say? And specifically talking to parents and church leaders as well.
We need to begin to speak out. We need to begin to speak not just to the women, also to the men. We've got to speak in a holistic way. We've got to begin to make it not right for you to disrespect not just your wife, your woman. I think we just need to appreciate life. Yeah. The word love is a good word, and love and heart do not belong in the same sentence. Yeah. But for some reason, people don't know that. And many cultures, the abuse and so on seems to be accepted. Right. And so if he loves me and he beats me, maybe he's showing me love, because that will happen to my father, to my grandfather, to my grandmother, and so on. We need first to begin to speak about it. Another thing is, where do people go for help? Many universities have a dean of students, a resident college counselor who talk to them. But how many of them go to them to begin to speak about them? Are there forums in the universities, in the colleges, where you begin to hear an authority telling you this is wrong? If this happens to you, come to us. Okay. So maybe you're thinking, maybe when I'm found murdered or injured, then they'll come pick me up. There's someone who'll come pick me up. So the authorities need to begin to speak about this silent epidemic.
Absolutely. I'm surprised there's not a single woman rep has come out and made a bunch of noise about this. I haven't heard anyway if they have. And I think the onus is on them to do absolutely that. We are going to get you guys contacts for shelters, for safe houses, because they exist. They exist all over this country. So Jane, if you're in a situation where you don't know where to go, na ujui pali utaenda, na unashinda utafanya nini, listen, don't worry. There are people out there who are doing so much, and there's so many organizations such as Equality Now, FIDA, who are really stepping out to give a chance to women. I know Nairobi Women's, as well as a hospital, has been doing a lot of work when it comes to GBV. So don't feel that you are alone, all right? And don't feel that perhaps the church is the only place to go. Sorry for that, but you know, there are other options. And so please log on to our social media platforms where we will connect you to some of these organizations and give you the helplines and everything. Before I play you a clip of a situation in the US, we have Shalom. I believe Shalom is back? No, they're not back? Okay. So the reason I want to play this clip is because in the US and in the UK, you're in a bad situation, you have children, you dial 3 numbers. You dial 3 numbers, and in less than 1 minute, the police show up. And it happens so automatically. And I'd like to play this clip because I hope the relevant people are watching. Safaricom, Airtel, government, can we come up with a number, a short code number for domestic abuse that you can just dial and someone will show up? I mean, I don't see why this is so difficult. When fire, we have, you know, accidents, health issues, they show up. So why not domestic violence? Take a look at this video, and I hope it starts to jog your creative mind as to what we can do here in Kenya to give some help.
911, operator 901. Where's the emergency?
127 Brymere.
Okay, what's going on there?
I'd like to order a pizza for delivery.
Ma'am, you've reached 911. This is an emergency line.
Large with half pepperoni, half mushroom.
You know you've called 911. This is an emergency line.
How long it'll be?
Okay, ma'am, is everything okay over there? Do you have an emergency or not?
Yes.
and you're unable to talk because...
Right, right.
Is there someone in the room with you? Just say yes or no.
Yes.
Okay, it looks like I have an officer about a mile from your location. Are there any weapons in your house?
No.
Can you stay on the phone with me?
No. See you soon. Thank you.
Fantastic. You know, that woman knows that if she said anything, her life would have been in danger. That other person on the line was able to decipher very, very quickly that this is an urgent and emergency situation. And that's the kind of, I guess, language, if, you know, because abuse does not end. Let's talk about the abuser. Let's talk about the anatomy of this man. Who is this man or woman who feels, I don't know what, that they have to inflict harm and be violent on this person who they once claimed to love? Naitor?
I think these people are going through something. I actually believe they are going through something. For you to see the only way to settle an issue is through inflicting pain and such grievous harm on someone else, I think they also need some sort of support. I don't know what kind of support they would need, but for you to get to that point, there must be some mental challenges that you're going through, and they also need to be supported in one way or another.
Okay.
Yeah.
Joy, of course, when you look at the church, I mean, and we've talked about this, I have been to church many times. I go every Sunday, but I've never heard someone standing at the pulpit and saying, don't beat your wife, don't harm your husband. We've never heard that. And why isn't the church preaching the reality of what is happening behind closed doors?
Maybe not as explicitly. There are sermons about relationships. You get into a relationship with great expectations, and when those expectations are squashed, you know, there's no child. How does a man, how does a woman deal with that pain? And what the church normally does is to look at the pain, because if that pain is not transformed into something where you talk about, you accept, then you will transfer it. If pain is not transformed, it is transmitted. And so this man who is beating his wife and cutting off her hands is in so much pain, but he sings in the choir, he's quiet and he's good. But at one point, he's really over the edge. And probably then the sermons need to get a lot more practical. We speak about them, but we need now to begin to say that don't beat your wife if you're going through pain, don't kill your husband if you're going through pain, talk to someone. If you're in this church and you're going through this, if you're being beaten or if you're beating someone, begin to speak. But not even that. Then the church has to say, then if you come in front and speak to me, then how does the ball roll from there?
Absolutely.
So how do we get a lot more practical?
Okay.
So don't let love hurt. Let that hurt be transformed to something beautiful that we look back and say, yes, I heard, but I did not transfer it.
Absolutely.
I was able to deal with it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, love does not hurt and it should not hurt, and there is help for you out there. And I'd like to advocate for leave. Leave. Walk away from the situation. You will heal. You will find love again. Somebody will love you who doesn't need to hurt you. Leave, leave, leave. In Jacqueline's situation, are we exerting pressure in all the right places so that we can see justice being served in this situation?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
At the county level, the county of Machakos should be doing something. Yeah. And for me, for all the governors, we should be having a shelter in each and every county so that women know when they're abused, or even men, they know where to run to. So we'll be expecting a lot from the county of Machakos in moving forward, and we'll have to hold them to account. What are they doing for the women who are victims of violence?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Ladies, it has been my pleasure having you here. Thank you so much for drawing so much insight. You have no idea the amount of people that you've helped today who will probably take a proactive step. I hope that you take a proactive step and you do something if you are in that kind of situation. Here is a question that we asked you earlier on the show. Who was the first African woman to become president of the United Nations General Assembly? And it was Elizabeth Brooks from Liberia. All right, and we are having some internet technical issues. We apologize, but we will go ahead and put our winners on our social media platforms. Please log on to find out if you are that very, very lucky winner. Thank you so much for joining us, and log on and take those numbers. The Kenyans on Twitter who made noise about Koffi Olomide, all right? Take those numbers, the toll-free numbers, take those shelter lines, those safe houses, and make that trend. All right? Let's give options to women and men who are in those situations. And let's make noise about this. Something has to be done. Thank you so, so much for joining us. Thank you for being here. Have a beautiful day, everybody. Make it count. We leave you with Elani. Bye. And Jaguar. And Jaguar.